I've always argued the innocence of Kathleen Folbigg. In 2021, almost 2 years ago, 76 eminent researchers, including 2 Nobel laureates and several Australians of the Year, including the Queensland scientist Professor Ian Fraser, said that new medical evidence about a mutant gene carried by 2 of the Folbigg children creates, quote, a strong presumption that they died from natural causes. That is 76 eminent researchers. Another 14 international experts at the time signed a petition, making all up 90 top scientists, medical practitioners and science advocates calling on the New South Wales Governor Margaret Beazley to pardon the then 53-year-old Kathleen Folbigg and immediately release her from jail, calling for an end to this, quote, miscarriage of justice. 90 top scientists. Other names on the petition included the President of the Australian Academy of Science, Professor John Shine, the Nobel laureate and former Australian of the Year, Professor Peter Doherty, the Tasmanian-born Emeritus Professor Elizabeth Blackburn, a 2009 Nobel Prize winner. The petition in 2021 quoted, "The executive prerogative of mercy is designed to deal with the failures of the justice system, such as this one. Ms. Folbigg's case also establishes," it said, "a dangerous precedent as it means the cogent medical and scientific evidence can simply be ignored in preference to subjective interpretations of circumstantial evidence," unquote. Professor John Shine of the Australian Academy of Science said, quote, "Given the scientific and medical evidence that now exists in this case, signing this petition was the right thing to do." Australia's former chief scientist, Professor Ian Chubb, said, "Expert advice should always be heard and listened to. It will always trump presumption," unquote. The distinguished child and public health researcher and 2003 Australian of the Year, Professor Fiona Stanley said, quote, "It's deeply concerning that medical and scientific evidence has been ignored in preference to circumstantial evidence. We now have an alternative explanation for the death of the children," unquote. The case against Kathleen Folbigg was always circumstantial. I've said all along, no forensic evidence existed to demonstrate that Kathleen had smothered any of her children, let alone all 4. This was a case where emotion was in the vanguard, science and the law were a long way behind. Indeed, the trial prosecutor of Kathleen Folbigg, Mark Tedeschi QC, closed his address to the jury in this way, disturbing then, as it should be now, in relation to the probable death from natural causes. Mark Tedeschi said to the jury, quote, "I can't disprove any of that, that is, death from natural causes, but one day some piglets might be born, come out of the sow with wings on their back, and the next morning Farmer Joe might look out a kitchen window and see these piglets flying out of his farm," unquote.